Federal, civilian, and defense agencies are coming to terms with how best to capitalize on 5G wireless network capabilities. I'm Wyatt Cash at Scoop News Group, and here to talk about some of the benefits that agencies can expect from the rollout of 5G and the advantages of deploying a network as a service model are two experts in the field. First, Lamont Copeland, Managing Director, Federal Solutions Architecture at Verizon, and Jim Poole, Vice President, Business Development at Equinix. Lamont and Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So Lamont and Jim, let's get started a little bit by what would you say are the most pressing challenges that you're hearing from your federal IT customers right now about their network infrastructure requirements and about their ability to transport data to and from the cloud and across their hybrid and multi-cloud environments?
Yeah, thanks, Wyatt. This is Lamont here. And, I think the biggest challenges they're seeing is there's a lot of different endpoints and different type of technologies coming into play that is creating a lot more stress on the networks, and the mobility of everybody around our sensor networks and everything is seeing the need to be able to, how do we connect more effectively, more efficiently to each one of those applications back to their resident areas, and to make sure that they're able to, get the connectivity, the performance, and the visibility to what all the data that they have that we're generating from all the different endpoints.
And I'd add probably that, saying hybrid multi-cloud is a lot easier than implementing hybrid multi-cloud. And conceptually, it sounds easy because you want to access multiple clouds and you want to connect it to, private IT infrastructure that you maintain. However, doing that with access to a high quality private network, colo, all securely interconnected, and to have the capacity and flexibility necessary to fulfill the mission, that is specifically a hard problem. And that's what we in Verizon have worked to solve.
Well, Lamont, let me ask this next question to you. How is the national rollout of 5G and 5G mobile edge compute, or MEC, likely to impact federal agencies?
Yeah, and where that's going to be is coming into play and hitting at the cross section is being able to get that connectivity with the 5G fixed wireless access MEC to be able to bring that compute closer to each one of these sensors, like I was mentioning before, each one of the end users that are trying to do these real-time live applications, and be able to visualize and realize a lot more of what we can do to be able to provide information, provide insight, and to provide different services out to each one of our customers. And then that connectivity back from the 5G connection back to the MEC, which could be located at the customer's location or at an Equinix facility, will can then get them the low latency that they need, the performance that they need, but then also get them connected back to the brick and mortar type of cloud provider services that us and Equinix work on to make sure that we have connectivity back to all their data and applications that they have.
So Jim, talk to me a little bit about how does the partnership between Verizon and Equinix currently work, and how will 5G likely make a difference as agencies look ahead in planning their infrastructure investments?
Yeah, it's a good question. So to start, probably the most important thing is that Verizon is our most widely deployed network partner. So wherever you might need to co-locate assets or access cloud services, you'll also find Verizon. However, just having the piece parts is not enough. And what Verizon and Equinix have done to further simplify the interconnection, the provisioning, and the security of the assets is through a program that we call SDI, or Software Defined Interconnect. And what it does is it allows for Verizon's private networking services like MPLS or Ethernet to interconnect with Equinix's Fabric service. And what this does is allows for the automated near real-time provisioning of interconnects between co-located infrastructure, Verizon's network, and the hundreds of public and private cloud services that are already on the Fabric platform. And so what that means is that what often would normally take weeks to do, Verizon and Equinix can do in minutes. And that means that as agencies implement things like 5G services, they can be assured that their network can access the hybrid multi-cloud services that they've deployed with us.
Well, and it's a question that both of you can take a shot at. Talk to me a little bit about why should agencies consider expanding their reliance on a network as a service model rather than reinvesting in their existing network infrastructure? Lamont, maybe you can take that one first.
Yeah, and where that comes into play is then you're able to bring out outcome-based results associated with the network as a service model, and you're able to leverage onto the fast pace of innovation and moving into the different technology fields. If you look at today, like how we deploy fixed wireless access into any locations, you can easily just go order the service from us, go put the router in place, and it spins up the 5G connectivity right away. To be able to do that with little to no help, and it's all part of a service that you would get. And then you're able to, instead of driving and trying to tell exactly how you want these, what type of technology, what type of services you should have, or type of boxes you should be able to, you say, give me a service. I want to be able to have the connectivity between my locations, my end users, through an SDI, connection to, whatever application you say. I'm just looking to be able to get from point A, get to my applications over here. What's the best way to give me this type of performance and this type of expected outcomes that I need to be able to connect that? And that's what the value is of getting a network as a service from Verizon and Equinix.
Jim, any additional thoughts on this idea of network as a service model really giving agencies a greater advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I think it boils down to, it's all about agility and cost effectiveness, right? Agility in the sense that the investments that Verizon and Equinix have made in things like SDN and NFV means that your network service can be far more adaptable and scalable on a programmatic basis than previous networks. And then cost effective because you can consume more functions on an OpEx versus a CapEx basis. And as previously mentioned, Verizon and Equinix have done all of the work to integrate Verizon's network as a service offering with the hundreds of public and private infrastructure deployments at Equinix as a seamless experience.
That makes a lot of sense. Next, back to you, Lamont. Can you share a couple of brief use case examples where you see 5G MEC solutions are really likely to benefit public service delivery or government operations as a whole?
Yeah, and there's quite a few. I know there's a lot of use cases and efforts going on across the civilian and DoD to be able to try to realize how 5G and MEC work for them in their environment. A few of them that we've been working through with in partnership with the government is, things like a smart base. How do you then start bringing in things from to make sure you're automating robotics onto a base to be able to help with the shipyard and work through that area? How do you work into a C2VX environment and making sure that, you're having vehicles and all the sensor data to be able to have automated vehicles or even just additional information associated with the surroundings and the vehicles themselves? Another is telemedicine. How do you start moving forward the advancement of doing training of doctors in a more realistic environment where they work with haptics or work with different VR sensors and be able to work that way, with the hopefully long-term goal of something where you're able to do remote surgery in a smaller area where you can use the 5G capabilities to be able to support that. So there's a multitude of use cases that we're working with the government on, but those are just a few to kind of highlight.
They certainly sound promising. And then lastly, Jim, what parting recommendation would you offer public sector leaders about how to adjust their network investment strategies as the nation and government moves to embrace 5G?
Yeah, traditionally, for very good reasons, networks tended to be anchored out of the end user facilities to which they were connected. And primarily that was because that's where all the data, the applications, and the users were found, right? But now the data and the applications sit in places like multi-tenant data centers and public cloud, and end user facilities really only consume presentation data. And if you look at the private sector side, what you'll see is now many anchor their networks from places like Equinix with partners like Verizon, because we can provide dynamic responsive services to all the partners you'll need.
Well, Lamont Copeland and Jim Poole, I really appreciate your stopping by, and thank you for sharing your insights about 5G with us today.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And look for more of our coverage and insights on IT modernization at all the events taking place during IT Mod Week. And you can look for more of our coverage as well at FedScoop's IT Mod Talks Summit. Look for all the details on fedscoop.com. This is Wyatt Cash. Thanks for tuning in.